When you look at those figures from yesterday, I mean, is Shopify just a victim of its own success here?
Katie, I think that's a good way to put it, to be honest. You were referencing the notion that the company may have performed well, but expectations have been elevated amid the pandemic. To be frank, the results seemed quite healthy. You're talking about over 40% revenue growth. They did signal a slowdown, but that should be largely expected. The reaction to some extent may reflect the fact that the company, I think, has now more clearly stated its commitment to investing in fulfillment, which has been a big topic of discussion, and that's going to cost quite a bit of money, especially in 2022.
So what about the idea of the theme that we're seeing with Shopify and many other stocks that just surged during the pandemic and the conflict between that demand being pulled forward versus them not necessarily being plays post-pandemic here, Scott? I mean, what do you think the future is for a company like Shopify?
Yeah, I mean, look, it seems to me when you see a name like this down, 18% in one day, and you note how much it's declined over just the last 3 months. I think it's been more than cut in half. I think it makes people wonder about the fundamentals of the business. And to be frank, the fundamentals of the business seem largely fine. Expectations are for, I think, revenue growth, kind of in that low to mid 30% growth range for 2022. That's a far cry from what we saw, say, in 2020, but continuing deceleration given economies are opening up, people are buying things in stores again, and you don't have the benefits of stimulus actions that have been supporting a lot of consumer spending. In addition to that, as I alluded to, I think Shopify definitely is, if not pivoting, trying to account for this new world order and investing accordingly. I think that probably got some people's attention.
And what does investing accordingly look like? I mean, do you see Shopify, more aggressively pushing into brick and mortar stores to get offline?
Yeah, so Katie, I think there are a couple different ways to look at this. They indicated $200 million in capital expenditures anticipated for 2022. Just to put that in perspective, if you took the amount they spent in 2020 and 2021 and doubled it, it still wouldn't be $200 million. So you're talking about a substantial increase in this spending. It's largely, we think, related to what they plan on doing from a fulfillment perspective. They want to be able, on behalf of their customers, to help with deliveries of goods, within a day or two. And that's obviously, to some extent, what the market may be demanding to some extent. But that increase is very significant. And I think it's gotten a lot of people's attention because they wonder, where does this spending end? Clearly, they provided an indication for 2022, but what about go forward, as it seems more and more like Shopify is looking to go head-to-head with Amazon?
Hey, Scott, this is a show for retail investors, and I think perhaps there are some people watching right now who are saying to themselves, wait a second, Shopify shares are trading at a level last seen in June of 2020. Is this a buying opportunity?
Yeah, look, I think if people are concerned about Shopify from a fundamental perspective, it would seem, based on what the company communicated today, that those are intact, even though they didn't provide, from what I saw, specific guidance around where revenue growth would be in 2022. I think they spooked people by indicating that they were going to have, they have been having a slow start to the year, but that there would be acceleration in growth, and the back half would be stronger than the first half. But I think the concern is much more around kind of the competitive dynamics, why and how much they're investing in this fulfillment endeavor, and essentially building a network of distribution centers that I think is getting people's attention.